and good day all. I am Glowfenix Out, and welcome to my review of The Batman. Spoiler warning for later down the line in this review. So, this film, I first thought when I came out that was epic. There's been many interpretations and adaptations of this character, but just from the first opening sequences, this film felt distinct. It's just things like kind of getting a feel of what this Gotham is, to kind of Robert Pattinson kind of entering as this Batman who's kind of still in his kind of early years. He's good, he's brutal, he's well. One of the things this film shows that I've not seen before in kind of past films is kind of this kind of angle of kind of being this detective, and kind of being kind of in the comics is sometimes called the world's greatest detective. I thought that it was explored well enough, not just this dark, brooding billionaire, even though he is that. Now this kind of goes into kind of talking about kind of the kind of character relationships that kind of that are in this film. So kind of Batman's battle and kind of fighting and figuring out the Riddler and like the clues and kind of in this conflict, and his ally in this being Jim Gordon, and that kind of relationship between each other was good to see unfold, being kind of the true pushing force for Batman, who in all cases in this world is a vigilante who is outside the law. He is vengeance. Going on to another kind of character in Selina Kyle, or Catwoman, even though in this film she's not actually called that. She does have a few cats and is a fan of strays. Kind of their relationship forms from kind of the dialogue exchanges to kind of the scenes in Iceberg Lounge, and as the film progresses their relationship looks at what they views on vengeance and justice. I quite liked her character. Okie dokie, now going on from kind of talking about some other characters and their relationships, I'm going to now go into kind of focus on the adversaries and villains that Batman encounters. And well, in this film, kind of being the main one being the Riddler, this intellectual, clever person who has kind of this grudge against kind of the higher class, kind of corruptible they are. Kind of Paul De Niro does an excellent performance as kind of this menacing serial killer, kind of the mental kind of games, kind of the physical challenges, the riddles, the clues that all kind of connect together, kind of that they have this kind of back and forwards and then kind of escalates with that final interrogation in Arkham. Nice jokes. Actually, there was no jokes in that one. It was just, I think there might be some jokers in that place. And then, yeah, like he, I think, was a very good adversary for this Batman, and overall, I think he was quite a very well done villain. So, onto another kind of villain that appears in this film, being the Penguin. From kind of him being kind of in the Iceberg Lounge to one of my favourite moments? Well, it's a whole sequence actually, being that car chasing. That was quite spectacular. Adrenaline pumping. It was thrilling, even though in the long term of overall this film, he played only kind of a minor role. I think the character, will, as more sequels and even he's like going to get his own solo series, this character is going to be kind of more further developed and kind of going from kind of more kind of this lower more boss to kind of maybe being kind of this more kind of the heights, like being like a top tier kind of gangster. And kind of I think overall he was alright. One last character I want to touch upon is the puppet master behind all this story in Carmen Falcone, that connects all the dots, all of the real ones. Even that last riddle to the answer was Falcone, and all that he did and does. And then there was that revelation. When I saw it, I was like, oh, alright, I may have already connected the dots and the connections, and the revelation being Falcone is Selina Kyle's father. With that reveal and with all that kind of how Selina tries to react to this, kind of there's a kind of a limit in taking the action to someone killing someone. Truly evil and has dirt on everyone, he controls everyone, he has the secret. He is the one who has all these secrets. And that kind of confrontation, even like before, he's a very cold, kind of very collective person. And even before, kind of you could tell what things he has. He has things on the history of the Waynes, then kind of how like his mother, who was an Arkham, and like her family history, and like it kind of shows his character. He is this very controlling and kind of manipulative person kind of behind all this, and that it shows his character. Falcone was the man behind it all. He was cruel and well played. He was that final nail in this story that the film told. So as I kind of start wrapping up the end of the review, I'm going to talk about, well, kind of a small bit about the spotlight, Morning Batman, and kind of his character and the central figure in kind of Bruce Wayne / Batman. This Batman film really shows more that kind of Batman is more than just Bruce Wayne. He's like, it's only till like maybe I think that funeral scene where we actually see Bruce Wayne. Like most of the film, it's Batman. Like kind of the mask is Bruce Wayne in this film, and kind of the more kind of as kind of that kind of get a glimpse at him at that kind of sequence at the funeral, and kind of shows he's still kind of growing and learning. And as this series of films kind of carries on in this kind of characters interpretation, kind of gets more onto kind of the duality of the character in this film. It's very much kind of, as I just repeated, kind of showing that like Batman is very much the focus, as it is called the Batman, and then kind of very much the Batman is the Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Kind of very kind of good, kind of Alfred, kind of to help him kind of more on the kind of side of like the Wayne Enterprises, and his Serkis did a good job. I've already mentioned aspects of his character, like his detective skills, his fighting, even in that final stadium scene, or in that like the Iceberg lounge scene, or that kind of scene in the sewer, or that one where like he's going down the corridor, he's brutally punching everyone. He is a hero. Yes, he is the Batman. He is vengeance. Well, finally, we're down to my overall thoughts of this film. It was good. Just from the few scenes that kind of stuck into this gossip. The score was very excellent. Also, I did listen to it whilst writing through, and I was like, this is a good score. Kind of very kind of dark, broody, kind of very kind of menacing, kind of his like intro, kind of at the opening. That was a very nice score, I thought. And then kind of, as I kind of repeated over, kind of we have his kind of other characters that appear, and the kind of the storyline of this film, kind of his rogues gallery, and it's kind of it forms, kind of there's kind of many wonderful performers, and even over its kind of nearly 3-hour runtime, by the end of it, it was able to complete all it wanted. All well done. The direction, and the look, the feel of this film excites me. It's dark, it can be brutal, but it can also be wonderful. Yes, it's also a superhero, and well, there's been quite a lot of these ones, but it was, as I said, it had a distinction which made it being like, okay, this is a superhero film, but it has its own feel. It felt distinct compared to previous, and I came away very pleased and happy. This is a film that I was like, wow, that was wicked, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. My rating for The Batman is 9 film emojis, which is kind of nicknamed Super Wicked. Glowfenix Out.